this presentation, you will learn about ethnomethodology. Ethnomethodology borrows and extends ideas from phenomenology and symbolic interactionism. Ethnomethodology was invented by Garfinkel beginning in the late 1940s. The main ideas of ethnomethodology were first laid out with the publication of Garfinkel's studies in ethnomethodology in 1967. Over the years, ethnomethodology has grown immensely, expanding in a number of different directions. Only a decade after the publication of Studies in Ethnomethodology, Don Zimmerman concluded that ethnomethodology encompassed a number of more or less distinct and sometimes incompatible lines of inquiry, with several varieties of ethnomethodology. The term ethnomethodology, coined by Harold Garfinkel, examines the folk methods people use in dealing with each other on a daily basis. Ethnomethodology is the study of folk or common sense methods used by people to make sense of everyday activities by constructing and maintaining social reality. Garfinkel wanted to explore how we make sense of countless familiar everyday situations by looking at the practical reasoning we employ in everyday situations. We engage regularly in intentional speech or action, but these efforts rest on deeper assumptions about the world that we usually take for granted. Ethnomethodology studies the process by which people invoke certain taken for granted rules about behavior with which they interpret an interaction, situation, and make it meaningful. Ethnomethodologists do not use a common sense method. Rather, they study common sense methods of constructing reality. The common methods people employ, whether scientists, housewives, workers, teachers, jurors, to create a sense of order about the situations in which they interact. Zimmerman points out ethnomethodology is not a comprehensive theory of society, but rather is an approach to study the fundamental biases of social order. Ethnomethodology is the study of the methods used by members of a group for understanding community, making decisions, being rational, accounting for action, etc. Ethnomethodologists are interested not only in explaining human behavior, but are interested in the interpretations people use to make sense of social settings, how people create a sense of reality. By making sense of the events in terms of preconceived order for society, people create an ordered world. For the ethnomethodologists, emphasis is not on questions about reliability and validity of investigators' observations, but on the methods used by the scientific investigators and laypersons to construct, maintain, and alter what one believes to be a valid and reliable set of statements about order in the world. The important concepts in ethnomethodology are reflexive action and interaction. Interaction sustains a particular vision of reality. Much human action is reflexive. Humans interpret gestures, words, and other information from each other in a way that sustains a particular vision of reality. Even contradictory evidence is reflexively interpreted to maintain a body of belief and knowledge. For example, the belief that the ritual activity directed towards God sustains the belief that God influences everyday life. Such ritual activity is reflexive action, maintaining a certain vision of reality and upholding a belief even when the evidence shows that the belief may be incorrect. Instead of rejecting the belief, the believers proclaim either they did not pray hard enough or maybe the cause was not just. Accounts. Accounting is the process by which people make sense out of the world. Ethnomethodologists give attention to analyzing people's accounts as well as to the ways in which accounts are offered and accepted or rejected by others. For example, when a child is giving an explanation to the other child about a drawing of his own, explaining and interpreting the shapes and colors, the child is giving an account. One of the reasons ethnomethodologists are interested in conversational analysis is because of this. Indexicality. Ethnomethodologists view that all accounts, expressions, and all practical actions must be interpreted within the context in which it occurs. To say that an expression is indexical is to underline that the meaning of that expression is dependent on the context in which it occurred. Ethnomethodologists must not impose their view of reality on the actors. Instead, they must try to put themselves in the actor's place to understand what is happening. Actors create expressions that reflect their shared understanding of social reality. It focuses investigators' attention to actual interactive contexts to investigate how actors create indexical expressions that includes words, facial and body gestures to create and maintain the assumption that a particular reality governs everyday life. Etc. principle. All situations have gaps to be filled in by the participants. Despite being confronted with uncertainties, we engage in social life. As the action progresses, we seek information within the context that allows us to grasp the situation. Stopping to question every ambiguity would make social life impossible, and therefore the etc. principle should be followed. Documentary method. It entails taking other people's behavior, statements, and other external appearances as a document or reflection of an underlying pattern that is used to analyze appearances. The need to reveal the underlying pattern is the documentary method. Natural language is a set of activities that enables people to speak, hear, and witness the objectively produced and displayed social life. Ethnomethodology is the study of the methods used by people to make sense of the social world and tends to emphasize empirical research focusing on action and interaction. The ethnomethodologist is primarily interested in the world as perceived by the people and as interpreted by them within social relations. It is not the sense of order that makes society possible, but rather the ability of humans to actively construct and use rules for persuading one another that there is a real world. They emphasize on the need for understanding the situation from the actor's point of view. To the ethnomethodologists, the mainstream sociologists' concepts, techniques, and statistics misrepresent the real nature of social reality. They critique the traditional sociologist's tendency to impose its sense of reality on the social world rather than letting the sense emerge from the context. Basic concepts of ethnomethodology include reflexivity, accounts, indexicality, the etc. principle, documentary method, and natural language. I hope you now have a better understanding of ethnomethodology. Thank you for watching the presentation. Do like, subscribe, share, and leave your comments about this presentation or any other topics you would like to learn more about.